everyone, and welcome back to Tinderlost Gaming, or welcome to Tinderlost Gaming if this was your first visit here. This is episode 8 of my playthrough of the Drowned City campaign for Arkham Horror, the living card game from Fantasy Flight Games. 8 episodes. If this is the first one you're watching, I would highly suggest watching episodes 1 through 7. There are some highs, there are some lows, more lows than highs maybe, but there we go. Anyway, enough of me gabbering on. Let's get across to the table and let's see what's going on. Okay, here we are at the table, and as ever at the start, I've got a bit of housekeeping to sort out. We managed to scrape through and get some XP in the last scenario. Agatha had a total of 4 to spend. Michael had 3 to spend. So with Agatha, I'm continuing the theme. I probably should have done this a lot earlier in the campaign of putting some combat-y type stuff in there, giving her a bit more freedom to not rely wholly on Michael if she gets caught out by an enemy. So I've taken out 2 crack the cases. I mean, crack the case is an insight, which does help with her ability. But yeah, it's okay. It's not bad. But I've decided to put in 2 XP costs of Mind Over Matter. It's fast. Can play it during my turn, and until the end of the round I get a plus book to my fight and agility, and I draw a card as well. So she can actually start to hit some stuff. Doesn't do any additional damage, but it does help her to ping some damage on an enemy. So those 2 are going to be going into Agatha's deck. These will get shuffled, obviously, as per my contractual obligations. So that's cracked the case done. That can go off and be put away at a later date. And then a very simple upgrade for Michael. We're taking out a 0 cost watch this to put in a 3 cost watch this. Mechanically it's exactly the same card, but what it does do is convert the icons into 3 wild icons rather than 1 of each. So that makes the potential hit for watch this a lot harder. So that's the 0 cost one going. We've already got a 3 cost one in there, so we've sort of got a nice little set of watch this now. And there we go. Another little bit of housekeeping I wanted to do before I actually start reading the scenario and stuff. I'm now at 296 subscribers, so we're knocking on the door of 300, which is amazing. I'm really, really happy with that. And getting comparatively for my channel, this campaign has been getting a lot of views and a lot of comments and a lot of likes. So I'm really, really pleased and happy, and thank you to everybody that's taken the time to subscribe, to watch the videos, and also, more importantly, to comment and engage with myself through this process. Lots of comments, but there's some I want to really shout out to. Black Star Rising Gaming and Polto Mr. RZ. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing that, but both of those have made a number of really valuable comments that have allowed me to tweak what I'm doing. Mainly, actually, thanks to Polto, read the cards. And that was very nicely said, and lots of points for me to think about and respond to, which was really good. Really happy with that. And also Tom W Chick 1. Thank you very much, Tom. As you can see, I've instigated your recommendation and thought, which was to have a sort of phase element, so you can see where I am phase wise. So that's on the left hand side of the screen, as you can see it. And I'll change that as we go, so you know what phase I'm in. But thanks, Tom, for that, and I really appreciate it. And your comments, mate. They were really, really, really nice. Thank you. Okay, so let's get on and see where we're at. We were at the Sepulchre of the Sleeper. And I've got me handy dandy campaign guide. So we'll read Sepulchre of the Sleeper 1. The expedition's reunion on the beach is decidedly dour, underscored by the rolling fog. One of the crew members you left behind to tend the boat is dead. According to the others, she was murdered when the remaining rations were stolen by starving pilgrims. Thankfully, the Cassandra is intact. You barely have enough food to make it to the remaining food to make it to the mainland. Andy and Ruby discuss their findings as the rest of the expedition bandage wounds and begin loading the Cassandra for the voyage home. Once the ship is loaded, you join Andy and Ruby on the shore. Check your campaign log. If you have at least one artifact checked under artifacts earned, and at least 10 glyphs are translated into the glyph record, proceed to Sepulchre of the Sleeper 2. Well, we do, because the only artifact I managed to earn was the Grizzly Mask, but that's one tick there. And we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 glyphs deciphered. So I'm going to read Sepulchre of the Sleeper 2. Just how much of that ugly chicken scratch did you decode? Ruby asks. Andy is hunched over the obsidian slate, making notes in a leather-bound notebook. In the evening half-light, the glyphs on the slate glow like pale fire. Andy leaves through several waterlogged pages and places a bloody slip of paper on the stone. Enough to decode this. I found it on the body of one of the pilgrims. It roughly translates to this. He hastily scribbles a translation on a fresh page and holds it out to you. It reads, "That is not dead which can eternal lie, and with strange eons even death may die." Never heard that before. Check your campaign log. If all 5 artifacts are checked under artifacts earned, all 26 glyphs are translated in the glyph record, then proceed to Sepulchre of the Sleeper 3. No, we haven't got all 10, and we certainly haven't translated all 26. Otherwise, add a 0 token to the Chaos bag for the remainder of the campaign. All right, pause. Right, there we go. 0 cost token added to the Chaos bag. And then we proceed to Interlude 3, The Awakening, on page 40. Interlude 3, The Awakening. The Awakening 1. I take it that's what I've got to read. Yeah, okay. A violent tremor knocks you prone. As you clamber to your feet, Ruby suppresses a gasp. A heavy shadow appears, veiled in the sepulchre darkness within the gates. A steady pulse, like a heartbeat, ripples through the city's nightmarish skyline. The ancient monstrosity drags himself on his belly through the gate. The gargantuan beast sways unsteadily. He is easily the size of a small mountain, with sickly green skin, an octopoid head and face, and a set of limp, tattered wings. Your vision doubles as you look at him, as if the creature were both here and elsewhere, both metaphysical and physical. The stench of his ancient rotten flesh is almost enough to make you retch. The thing's red eyes glow as he gazes down on you. A steady, insistent weight presses down on your shoulders, forcing you to kneel. You hear yourself speaking in a voice not quite your own, and there's some glyphs there that I'm not going to attempt to read. If at least one artifact is checked under artifacts earned, proceed to the Awakening 2. Otherwise, skip to Awakening 3. Okay, Awakening 2. Look away, shouts Ruby. You turn to see your companions also kneeling before the awful, dead dreaming god. A warmth spreads through your body as he delves deep into your mind, your memories. The warm feeling gives way to something cold, hateful. Looking up, you see him staring back at you, his 5th eye open. You feel his rage. You have taken part of his domain. You must perish. Okay. Remove all cultist, tablet and elder thing tokens from the chaos bag. Then add two of each of them to the chaos bag for the remainder of the campaign. Right, bear with me yet again. Okay, here we go. We've got 2 tablets, they're going in. We've got 2 elder things, they're going in. And we've got 2 cultists. I've sorted out the bag, so that's now correct. And then skip to the Awakening 4. Awakening 4. Struggling against the Ancient One's terrible will, you rise and help the others to their feet. Great Cthulhu grasps at you with sinewy tentacles as you flee the water's edge and paddle furiously towards the Cassandra. Once aboard, the ship threads a narrow strait through a gauntlet of rising spires and deadly shoals to reach the open ocean. An ear-splattering roar echoes across the water. You turn to see the colossal abomination slip greasily into the black water and out of view. You stare down into the fathomless deep, waiting to see 5 angry red eyes emerge to capsize the ship. The nightmarish skyline of Rylea glimmers in pale green fire as it fades into the distance. A minute passes, then 10, then 30. There's no movement, no stirring in the depths. The abomination may have lost interest or perhaps got entangled into the shoals, or at least you hope. Proceed to interlude 4, Return to Arkham. Okay, page 41. Return to Arkham. Check your campaign log. If at least 1 artifact is checked under artifacts earned, proceed to return to Arkham 1. Okay, we've got 1 artifact. We've got the Grisly Mask. Yeah. Return to Arkham 1. Your sleep on the voyage home is fraught with nightmares. Upon returning to Arkham, you and the others bring the expedition's findings back to an elated Tillinghast. As you relay the events of the expedition to the Collector, he turns each piece in hand, marvelling at the ancient technology. You've done all I've asked and more, he grins. Consider your debts annulled. And of course, I'm more than happy to honour our original agreement. Check the tasks section of your campaign log. For each progress marked under your task, and only you gain 1 bonus experience. Each investigator then resolves their respective tasks on pages 41 to 43. Once they've done that, then we go to Doom of Arkham. So, good money for Michael got 1, and Plumb the Depths for Agatha I've got 4. Right, let's read. Oh, there's good money. Good money for Michael. Read only if you have the good money tasks. If there are 5 or more progress marked under your task. No. Otherwise, we didn't get 5 or more. Smirking, you walk away from the rendezvous with Sanford with a full briefcase. You turn a corner to find yourself surrounded by thugs. Tillinghast told us that you were well overdue. Thankfully, I think you're ready to pay up, one of them says. Apparently, it was tougher to play both sides than you thought. Raising your fists, you brace yourself for what's about to come next. Hell, if you're going down, you're not going down without swinging. Permanently remove the good money task from your deck and suffer 1 physical trauma. Oh, okay, down to 7. Down to 7. Search the collection for an injury or criminal basic weakness and add it to your deck. The card does not count towards your investigator's deck size. Right, again, bear with me. Okay, these are all my basic, criminal or injury weaknesses. I'm going to try and do this so I don't know what it is. Little shuffle. Cat weasel cut, and we'll take that one. That'll be a nice little surprise for us whilst we are That goes into Michael's deck. So that's good money. So we've got Ruby Standish there. And then we'll go across to Plumb the Depths. Plumb the Depths, read if you have the Plumb the Depths tasks, there are 5 or more. No, we got 4, unfortunately. So otherwise, if it is several nights after your return and you are sitting in one of the many reading rooms in Miskatonic's Orne Library, staring at a roaring fire, your findings were received as mere fantasy, and the ancient writings we translated were dismissed out of hand. You would be lucky to teach children, let alone lecture in the grand halls of the university. You pause your reading to look at the strange codex scrawled in the margins of your book, strangely for Amelia. For a moment you feel a familiar pang of curiosity, the same you felt in Rylea. You close the textbook. If no one will listen to you, why bother? Permanently remove Plumb the Depths from your deck and suffer 1 mental trauma. Oh God, down to 5. 5. Add a skull token to the chaos bag for the remainder of the campaign. Right, bear with. Right, there's the skull token. That's going to go in the bag. And page 44 for the Doom of Arkham. Okay. Finale. The Doom of Arkham. The month after you return to Arkham passes like a dream. Something still feels wrong. The concerns of your former life are nothing compared to the austere grandeur and menace of the ancient city. In your dreams you wander the ancient city hunted by something you dare not describe. If you were to tell anyone the truth of what you've seen, you could be committed to a sanatorium or worse. You attempt to track down both Ruby and Andy to ask them about their dreams, but you can find no trace of them. The Arkham Advertiser has begun to report the spread of an unusual sleeping sickness in the city's population. There is no known cause, no sign of disease, no common thread to the victims. People seem to simply be falling asleep each night, never to awaken. Rumours abound of sleepwalkers wandering the streets at night. Rather than induce a panic, however, the populace seems to accept what would be alarming news with dull indifference. The city of Arkham itself is sinking deeper into a deep slumber. In your restless dreams, you still see the drowned city and the hulking behemoth that once slept within it. You know, beyond a doubt, that you will see him again. The Doom of Arkham Part 1. You awaken from yet another nightmare to a furious knocking at your door. You open it to find a bedraggled Andy and Ruby along with a sharply dressed inspector who introduces himself as John Raymond Legrasse. The inspector explains that he's been investigating a spate of dreaming cults across the United States and abroad. You invite them inside as it begins to rain. Once seated, the inspector flashes a photo of a familiar statue. Several months ago, he sent the statue to a colleague in Miskatonic University for analysis. Apparently, Tillinghast's request that you find his missing shipment was nothing more than petty theft. He tells you he arrived in Arkham about a month ago to interrogate Tillinghast and recover the statue. Something didn't sit right with me after we handed off the artifacts, Andy says darkly. So a few days later I headed to the shop. When we got there, the shop had moved, or so we thought. Ruby finally found it and we went in to find the inspector arguing with Tillinghast, and things didn't go so well. That's putting it mildly, Legrasse says. Randall was giving me the runaround when these two appeared. He threw us out real quick. When we looked around, we weren't here. You ask him what he means and he shakes his head. I mean, we weren't here. In Arkham, his shop door led somewhere else entirely. It took us a whole month to return. I think we were somewhere in Tibet or even farther north. It was a journey to get back, sighs Andy. A few months ago, you might have found their story hard to believe, but not now. Knowing what you do about Tillinghast, it's no surprise he has something far more sinister planned than simple acquisition. But what? Together with Inspector Legrasse, Ruby and Andy, you resolve to recover the artefacts and confront Tillinghast, wherever he may be. As you set out, the rain turns to a heavy downpour. Proceed to set up. Right, so there's a bit of setting up now, so I'm going to pause, I'm going to grab everything, and then we'll go from there. Right, okay, done a fair amount of setup, but let's take it from the top. It says gather all cards from the following encounter sets: the Doom of Arkham Part 1, Deep Ones, Domination, Dreams, Starspawn, Agents of Cthulhu, and the Midnight Masks. When gathering the Midnight Masks encounter set, only gather the location and treachery set cards. Do not gather acts or agendas from this set. Find each location in the Midnight Masks encounter set and put them into play as follows. Put one of the two downtown locations and one of the two southside locations into play at random and remove the other versions of these from the game, which is what we've done, downtown and southside, done that. And then we put the rest in according to the play, which is what we've applied according to the placement map, which is what we've done. Set each other locations aside out of play. Each investigator begins at Rivertown, so we're here. Shuffle the single-sided Tillinghast historic location with each treachery from the Midnight Masks encounter set and place one of them under each location except for Rivertown. I've shuffled them up and then I've put randomly. I've got no idea which one's which, but they're all underneath the locations as said. Shuffle each enemy from the Starspawn encounter set and remove 2 at random from the game, which is what I've done. Oh, those things. Gather all earned artifacts along with a Horror in Clay story asset and set them aside out of play. So I've got my Grizzly Mars there as well. Choose an investigator to add John Raymond Legrasse storyline asset to their deck. This card does not count towards their deck size. Put the John story asset into play under the investigator's control. He does not take up an ally slot during part 1 or part 2 of this scenario. Now, John Raymond Legrasse, I've given him to Michael, and you'll see why, because he's pretty decent. Why is that going on autofocus? Bear with me. Right, there we go. That's that sorted. That's frustrating. If I use OBS as my recording software, and every time you come out of it and turn it back on again, it resets all of your camera properties. So you have to reset them every time. Anyway, enough moaning. So, John Raymond Legrasse, ally detective. You get +1 skill value while fighting Deep One Starspawn enemies. So handy for Michael. And as a reaction, I can during a skill test while fighting or evading Cthulhu, exhaust John Raymond Legrasse. You get +X skill value for this test, where X is Cthulhu's rage. Oh god! And he's got 3 and 3 health and sanity. So Michael has got him. Place Doom on the agenda equal to the number of investigators. Well, I'll put 2 on that. I'll come back to the agenda in a second. Add flood tokens to the token pool. Delightful. Shuffle the remaining encounter cards to build the encounter deck. You are now ready to begin play. Right. Okay. So the agenda. The coming storm. 14 on it. Action, resign. You give up your search. Forced. When Doom is placed on this agenda, increase the flood level of the lead investigator's location. Oh, okay. Got to remember that. 14 on it. And we've got the act, which is the Phantom Shop. Conflicting accounts place Tillinghast Astoria in locations across Arkham. Action. Investigators at your location spend 2 clues. So I've got 2 investigators. Draw the top card beneath your location. If it's an asset, take control of it. When the round ends, if an objective, when the round ends, if an investigator at Tillinghast Astoria controls at least 1 artifact asset, the investigators may advance. Hint, recover as many artifacts as possible. Okay. Don't know how we're supposed to get those. But I'm sure there's stuff in the encounter deck that will do that, because all of these are out of play. There's 2 artifacts, the Horror in Clay and the Grisly Mask. Anywho, let's see. I'm sure this will tell us how to do it. Right, 7 and 4. We're all good. 6 and 5. Right, good. Let's shuffle the encounter deck. We are contractually obliged to do this. And probably also subclause 2.1, we drop a card. Cat Weasel cut. We shuffle up Agatha. I have checked Agatha's deck. She has got the Akula in there. I just never seem to be able to get it. Which is pretty much a fundamental part of her deck. The last few games, without giving too many spoilers away, it's made it very difficult. I took the backpacks out. Maybe that was a bad call. I don't know. I don't know. Hopefully we'll get it. We'll get it. Michael's deck. Again, these have been shuffled off screen a bit more rigorously, but I will always shuffle them on screen. So really, we've got to try, looks like we've got to try and find this Astoria place. Tillinghast's hideout. Delightful man that he is. Okay, right, I think we're ready to go. Part 1. This looks like it may well be a 2-parter. I'm going to do this scenario and then I'll call it. And then we'll play the finale later on. I have to say, actually, unfortunately, there will be no video next weekend as I'm recording. Or next, I release my videos on every Sunday at 11 o'clock GMT. There will be one this Sunday, which is the 25th of May. But there won't be one next weekend because I'm away at the Board Games Expo. So if you're going to Board Games Expo in the UK, Birmingham NEC, give us a shout. I'll be walking around buying loads of board games for the channel, hopefully. I'm planning, hopefully, maybe to do my first little sort of video out and about. But we'll see how that goes. I'm not promising anything. But if it works, then I'll put some stuff up for it. But there'll be no videos next weekend because I will be in Birmingham. Right. Let's draw our opening hands. Agatha's going to get 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're obviously looking for the ocular. Right, we've got an art student. That's good. We've got a Milan Christopher. He's too expensive at the moment, so he can go there. Eyes of the Dreamer, Perception, and the Milan. Perception's pretty decent. Eyes of the Dreamer is also pretty good. I'll keep those 3. Or do I ditch a Perception to try to look for the ocular? No, I'm going to keep it. Draw 2. We've got a Promise of Power. And we've got another art student. Okay. Not too shabby. Not too shabby. Final Cat Weasel cut. Two art students, pretty good. Right. 5 cards for Michael. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have got a Contraband, a Robert Gascoigne, an Automatic, another Robert Gascoigne, and a Crackshot. Wow. Very, very expensive hand. I think I'm going to keep the automatic, or do I? I can get a gun. Do I? Actually, do you know what? I think I'm going to keep one Robert. I think I'm going to keep one Robert. Yeah, I'm going to keep one Robert and get rid of the rest of those. 1, 2, 3, 4. An emergency cache would be nice. We've got an automatic, unexpected current, a derringer and an overpower. That's not too bad. That's not too bad. Really playing the automatic wrong early in this campaign. The rogue automatic, you have to have an exhausted enemy to get the pluses, and I was thinking it was really, really good, and actually it turns out it's okay, but nowhere near as good as what I thought it was. Alrighty, we are good to go. Let's flip over Rivertown. Shroud of One comes in with 2 clues and nothing else special about it. So let's go with Agatha, I think. Let's go with Agatha. First action. Pay 2, down to 3 to play an art student. Let's move those up a bit because I think we're going to need a bit of space for the old Doom. After an art student enters play, discover 1 clue at your location. Thank you very much. Second action, she's going to investigate. She is 4 versus 1. 4 versus 1. I think we can live with those odds. I should have gone through plan on standard, obviously. The skull is minus X, where X is half the number of locations with no scenario cards beneath it. The cultist is minus 3. If the test fails, place 1 doom on the nearest enemy with no doom on it. The tablet is minus 3. If the test fails, place 1 of your clues at your location. And the elder thing is minus 2. If your location is flooded, reveal another token. So 4 versus 1. How is the chaos bag today? Minus 2. We get our clue. Third action, she's going to move down to south side. I think that's it. Okay. Michael, he gets to look at his underworld market. Draws the top 2 cards. We've got a Viola case and we've got a Derringer. Ooh. I will spend 1. To take the Viola case. That goes on the bottom of the deck. That might just alter what he's going to do. I'm going to spend 4. First action, I'm going to spend 4, so down to 0, to put Robert into play. Second action, I'm going to move down to south side with Agatha. Third action, I'm going to investigators at your location spend 2 clues as a group. Draw the top card beneath your location. If it's an asset, take control of it. So we're going to spend the 2 clues from Agatha. We can do that as a group and take the top card. Draw the top card beneath your location. If it's an asset, take control of it. Hunting Shadow. You must either spend 1 clue or take 2 damage. Bear with me. Well, first of all, I should have flipped south side when I went into it. 2 clues. That's the first thing I should have done. Learn how to play this game. And I will have to take 2 damage. I'll put 1 onto John and 1 onto Robert. Doesn't say direct damage. Now, where does this go? Where does this go? There are sometimes the way these scenarios, I don't know if it's just me, sometimes the way these scenarios are written, you think you've done something wrong in setup, because it says draw the top card beneath your location. If it's an asset, take control of it. Well, there's your story element in this, which I think is a location, and the rest of these are from the Midnight Mass. There's as far as I know it, there's no assets underneath these cards. But I just don't know. I just don't know. I'm confused. And I was just wondering whether I'd missed actually shuffling these assets in, but no, it says gather all earned artifacts along with a horror in clay story asset and set them aside out of play. Well, I'm sure they're all fine. I'm sure they're all fine. I'm sure it'll all come together. I'm going to put that in the discard pile because it is an encounter deck, encounter card. I don't know. It doesn't tell me to put them outside out of play. So I'll do the thing that's worst for me. And that was Michael's third action. So we go across to the enemy phase. There we go. We've got our nice little, thanks to Tom, we've got our nice little phases going. Enemy phase, there are no enemies in play, so we don't need to worry about that. So we go to the upkeep phase. We gain our actions back. Agatha gains a resource up to 4. Michael gains a resource up to 1. He draws a card. He gets swift reflexes. And Agatha gets guidance. We've got our hand size, we're all good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And Agatha has got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's the end of the round. It says here, when the round ends, if an investigator at Tillinghast controls at least 1 artifact, so we don't need to worry about. So then we go across to the Mythos phase. We place 1 Doom onto the Coming Storm. So we're now at 3. Forced, When Doom is placed on this agenda, increase the flood level of the lead investigator's locations. I mean, some flood tokens. I'll grab those. So we're going to go up to partially flooded, south side. Agatha's going to draw a card. She is going to get a deep one thrall. So it's a fight of 3. 2 health, 3 to evade. After deep one thrall engages you, discard 1 card at random from your hand. So it engages. We'll put that there so I can remember she's engaged with it. We'll go with that one. We discard our promise of power. Lovely. Michael is going to get a monstrous star spawn. He loves it. He loves the star spawn, does Michael. 2 fight, 6 health, 2 to evade. God. Hunter, massive, relentless. Prey, highest fight. When you reveal an elder thing token while fighting or evading this enemy, heal 1 damage from it. 1 and 1 for hitting. Right. Absolutely fantastic. Okay, we move to the mythos. We go to the investigation phase. Wowzers. Wow. Should have played a far. Anyway, God. Well, this just ramped up very quick. I did not need that pull turn 2. I did not need that pull turn 2. What do we do? Well, if we start off with Michael, we've got his underworld market. It would be nice if we drew a fence. Fence is in there. I can hit the thing pretty easily, fight 2, but it's the damage that's the problem. 6 health. I've got Robert in play, so I could first action evade it. Yeah, let's start with Michael first of all. So let's draw his underworld deck. And we have got a fence and we've got an automatic. We'll take the fence. We'll pay 1 to take it for later. I've got no monies. I've got no monies. Oh, hang on a sec. Or do I take... No, I I'm going to take the automatic. I'm going to take the automatic. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. I'm taking the fence. I'm taking the fence. There's a reason. Okay. First action. Is to try to evade the monstrous star spawn. Three versus two. 3 versus 2. We'll play swift reflexes to make it 5 versus 2. Let's go with 5 versus 2. 5 versus 2. -1. We evade it. Second action. We're going to use Michael Roberts Castaigne's ability. Discard a firearm asset that takes one or fewer hand slots from your hand and exhaust. Oh, hang on, I've done this the wrong way round. No, let's take that back. Oh, sugar. Sugar. I've done this the wrong way round. Bear with me. Let's rewind. Let's rewind. I'll take my swift reflexes back. Oh, God. First action. No, we'll leave it like that. To evade. Swift reflexes is gone. Second action. I'm going to discard the automatic to fight with it. We get, it is exhausted. We get +2. So we're at 5, 6, 7, 8. Eight versus 2. -X. X is half the number of locations with no scenario. So 2, that's 1. So we pass. We do 2 damage to it. Third action is to move to St Mary's Hospital. Oh, that was the wrong way up. 2 clues on it. Shroud of 2. And that's it for Michael. Agatha. Got a deep one thrall in her throat. Jesus. Got nothing. 3 versus 3. 4. Can make it 4 versus 3 with guidance. What am I thinking here? Fight of 3, 2 health, 3 to evade. She's 3 evade. I've got a guidance which I can use, which has got a wild on it. Perception can't help. Art student can't help. Eyes of the dreamer can't help. 4 versus 3 is really not great. So I'm going to have a go at an evade here. If not, I'm going to move and take the attack of opportunity. I think that's all I can do. And then try and evade it again. So, first action, evade. I'll play a guidance to make it 4 versus 3. Not brilliant. Oh, hang on a sec. Or do I want to move and then try and evade and then Michael can help? Yeah, first action is to move, to be with Michael. I'll take an attack of opportunity 1 and 1. I'll put them both on the art student, which kills the art student. Second action, I'll take my guidance back because I didn't do it. Second action is to then evade the deep 1 thrall. I'll play a guidance to take me to 4 versus 3. And then Michael will assist with an unexpected courage. 2 wild pips on it. So 2, 5, 6 versus 3 to evade it. 6 versus 3. Plus 1. Plus 1. So the deep 1 thrall is evaded. Third action, pay 2, down to 2. Let's play an art student, gaining a clue. That's it. That is it. We go to the enemy phase. There are no ready enemies in play, so we don't need to worry about that. They don't ready in this turn. They ready at the end of the, or during the upkeep phase. Upkeep phase, we get our actions back. We gain a resource. Agatha's up to 3, Michael's up to 2. Michael gets a card, he gets contraband. Agatha gets promise of power. Michael's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cards in hand, so that's all good. We ready any cards? Deep 1 thrall readies, monstrous starspawn readies. The deep 1 thrall will engage with Michael. We need to discard a card at random. I bet that's fence. I bet that's fence. Oh no, Derringer. Not so good either. Okay. We go to the Mythos phase. We place the Doom on the agenda. We increase the flood level of St Mary's Hospital. Agatha draws a card. She gets Cthulhu Fatagan. Test fight 3. Oh god. Test fight 3. If you fail, you must take 2 horror or deal 1 direct damage to an investigator at your location. That's not too bad. That's not too bad. We'll just take that. Fight 3 against 1. I'm not wasting any cards. Michael's not going to waste any cards. 3 versus 1. We're going to fail it. 3 versus 1. -3. If this test fails, place 1 Doom on the nearest enemy with no Doom on it. So that is going to go onto Deep 1 Thrall. And we take 2 horror. I'll put it on the art student, which kills her. Sends her mad. Michael is going to draw Drawn to Darkness. Put Drawn to Darkness into play in your threat area. Your maximum hand size is reduced by 3 to a minimum of 1. When your turn ends, if you have no cards in your hand, discard Drawn to Darkness. Reduced by 3. So we get to keep 2 cards. Oh, lovely. We'll discard that one. And we'll discard that one. We are discarding Viola Case and Overpower. Okay. Investigation phase. Micah will go first and he'll draw from his Underworld deck. He's going Fence and Liquid Courage. Oh dear, oh dear. Neither of those. First action, he's going to punch the Deep 1 Thrall with his fists. He's 5, 6, and 7 because it's a deep one. So 7 versus 3. Seven versus 3. -2. If your location is flooded, reveal another token. It is. 7 versus 3. There we go. So that's -6 in total. So we fail. Second action. Fight. 7 versus 3. +1. We do 1 damage to the Deep 1 Thrall. Third action. Punch the Deep 1 Thrall. 7 versus 3. 0. We kill it. We kill it. That was 3 actions. Oh. That's going to be a problem. Okay. Right, Agatha. Oh, drawn to darkness when your turn ends. If you have no cards in hand, discard drawn to darkness. We've got 2 cards in hand. Can't get rid of them. Agatha. First action, she's going to investigate. 4 versus 2. She'll play a perception to make it 6 versus 2. 6 versus 2. Minus 0. Or 0. We get the clue. We will use those 2 clues. As her second action to draw the top card beneath my location. What is it? False lead. If you have no clues, false leads gain search. If you have 1 or more clues, test book 4. For each point you fail by, place 1 of your clues on your location. Well, I've got no clues. And does it surge? Well, I take it does. Surge. So that goes in there, and we draw another card from the encounter deck. Deep 1 ambush. Put deep 1 ambush into play in your threat area. Limit once per investigator. After a deep 1 engages you, it attacks you. Okay. Put that there. It's not too bad. Third action. She's going to move up to the Miskatonic University. Comes in with 4 clues. And we can spend an action there to search the top 6 cards for a deck for a spell or a tome card, add it to our hand. It's got victory on it as well. And that's Agatha done. That's Agatha done. Okay, that's the investigation phase. Move on to the enemy phase. Hunter, enemies with a hunter keyword. Highest prey, so monstrous star spawn is going to move and engage with Michael. And then hit him for 1 and 1. We'll put 1 sanity onto Robert. And 1 health onto John. Okay. We move on to the upkeep phase. Get our actions back. Oops. Get our actions back. We're going to resource. So Agatha's going to 4. Michael's going to 2. Michael's going to draw a Remington model 1858. That's not too bad. And Agatha's going to draw an Eyes of the Dreamer. we go across to the mythos phase. We put another Doom on the agenda, so we're now at 5 of 14. We increase the flood level of the lead investigator's location, so that goes up to flooded. Now, this is what I was reading when I paused it. In other scenarios, when there's been floods, it says if you're in a fully flooded location, you take damage. But it doesn't say that on the agenda card. It says when Doom is placed on this agenda, increase the flood level of the lead investigator's location. Nothing on there does it say about taking damage. So I just read the flood bit in the rule book, which says throughout this campaign, scenario cards can flood locations. Each location can be at one of 3 different flood levels. It's either unflooded, partially flooded, or fully flooded. A location's flood level, it can be tracked using the double-sided flood tokens included in this campaign box. A location's flood level has no inherent game effect. However, some cards may change or become stronger when you're at a flooded location, particularly if that location is fully flooded. And it goes on to describe that, but there's nowhere in it does it say you take damage if you're in a fully flooded location. So I'm just going to leave it like that. So we're going to go across to drawing the mythos cards. So Agatha is going to draw Deep One Ambush. Well, we've already got that, and it doesn't say search because it says limit 1 per investigator. So that's that. And Michael's going to draw Tortured Visions. Oh. Test will 3. This gets +2 difficulty if you have 3 or fewer cards in your hand. If you fail, take 1 direct horror and discard 1 card at random from your hand. So we're now at 5. Because I've only... Oh, no, I've got 3 cards. I can't have 3 cards because I've drawn to darkness. So I'm going to have to discard one of these. Discard that one, which is contraband. Of course it is. So this is +2 difficulty. So 5 versus 3. Nothing that can help on that. 5 versus 3. -1. I fail. So I take 1 direct horror. So down to 3. And I discard 1 card at random from my hands. That one. Remington, 1858. Doesn't fit. Right, we go across to the investigation phase. I'm going to start off with Michael. Draws his 2 cards. He draws a Thompson and a Liquid Courage. He's going to take neither of them. First action. He's going to attempt to evade the monstrous star sport. He's agility 3. I'm going to play a fence to make it 4. So 4 versus 3. Four versus 3. Come on, Michael. Come on. -2 if your location is flooded. Reveal another token. -3. If this test fails, place one of your clues on your location. I can't. God. Second action, try to evade it. 2 versus 3. 2 versus 3. -1. We pass. We evade it. Third action, we'll move up to be with Agatha. Agatha, Agatha, Agatha. Four versus 4. First action, pay 3, so down to 1 resource to play Eyes of the Dreamer. Comes in with 9 charges on it. Second action, we'll use Eyes of the Dreamer, and we'll take away 3, so we're down to 6 charges. Use your will instead of your intellect for this test. Before revealing chaos tokens to this test, you may spend up to 3 charges to reveal that many additional chaos tokens. Choose one of the reveal code tokens to resolve and ignore the rest. If you succeed and the chosen token matches an ignored token, discover 1 additional clue at your location. So we're going to pull 3. 1, 2, 3. So we've got an Elder Sign, a -1. We are 4 versus 4 and a -1. Oh, God. Misplayed that. I misplayed that. So we fail. Well, ignore those 2 tokens, obviously, the -1. Third action, I'll use 3 tokens off here, so down to 3. I will investigate, so I'm going to play Promise of Power. Add a curse token to the bag. So we're now 8 versus 4. That's what I should have done in the first place. 8 versus 4. Drawing 3 tokens. 1, 2, 3. We've got a -4, a 0, and a -2. Well, I'll ignore both of those for it to be a 0, which means I get a clue. And I've ignored Chaos token at the end of my turn. So what have we got? Is there anything we can play insight wise? No. I've got guidance in there, but choose another investigator at your location who has yet to take their turn. Michael's already had his turn, so I can't activate Agatha's power. And that's Agatha done. Okay. We go across to the enemy phase. That's exhausted. Oh, drawn to darkness should go because I've got no cards in my hand. Upkeep phase. Okay, upkeep phase. Get our actions back. Gain a resource. Agatha up to 2. Michael's up to 3. Michael draws a card. He gets Joey the Rat. 1 card. And Agatha gets Spectral Shield. We're all good. We ready up. Monstrous Starspawn readies. Okay. We go across to the Mythos phase. We put a Doom, 6 of 14. We increase the flood level of the Miskatonic University, so it's partially flooded. And then we draw a card. We draw 1 for Agatha. Deep 1 Thrall. Okay, so that immediately engages us. And the Deep 1 Ambush thing kicks in. It engages us and attacks us. So it's 1 and 1. So down to 5, down to 4. 1, 1. Michael gets a young Deep 1. After young Deep 1 engages you, take 1 horror. I'll put that onto John. This is getting fun. 1 more clue is really what we need. Well, start with Michael, who's going to draw his Underworld Market. He's going to draw 2 cards. He's going to get Chicago Typewriter or 45 Thompson. Jeez. We'll spend 1 to take it. The Chicago Typewriter. First action, we're going to do a Robert Castaigne. We're going to throw a Chicago Typewriter. Oh no, it's one or fewer hand slots. I got nothing. The other one was the Thompson, which is double-handed as well. Ah, that's annoying. Right, I think I'm going to have to continue to punch deep ones. So first action is punching the deep one. 5, 6, 7. 7 versus 3. 7 versus 3. 0. We do 1 damage to it. Second action. 7 versus 3. Minus X, where X is half the number of revealed locations. That's 3. Rounding up, so that's 2. Minus 2. 7 versus 3. We still do it. We do another damage to the deep one. Third action. 7 versus 3. Minus 3. If the test fails, place 1 doom. 7 versus 3. We're good. We kill it. Well, Michael certainly likes to punch them in the face. So that is it for Michael. Agatha. She's going to have a go at evading. First action. She's going to have a go at evading the deep one thrall. 3 versus 3. I'll put a spectral shield in there with a wild to make it 4 versus 3. 4 versus 3. Minus X. That's 3. Revealed, so that's 2. Fail. Cards. Struggling. Well, gonna have to go 3 versus 3. 3 versus 3. We'll put Michael can help with Joey the Rat to make it 4 versus 3. Should have done that last time to make it 5 versus 3. 4 versus 3. 0. We disengaged from it. That was my second action. Third action. Investigate using Eyes of the Dreamer. Using 3 of those. We are 4 versus 4. I'll make it 5 versus 4. 5 versus 4, drawing 3 off. One, two, oh God, 3. 4 versus 3. No, 5 versus 4. 0. Cultist. 0. Ooh. I'll resolve the 0. So I'll ignore those 2. If the succeed on the chosen token matches an ignored token, draw 1 additional clue from your token pool. So I get two clues. 2 clues. So that is it for Agatha's turn. Oh God. That is it for Agatha's turn. And the deep one is there at the Miskatonic University. Enemy phase, no ready enemies. So we're all good. Ah, no, monstrous star spawn is going to move and engage with Michael. Sorry, the rat can go. It's going to be hit for 1 and 1. I'll take both of those. 6 and 2. 1, 2. That's it for the enemy phase. Upkeep phase, we get our actions back. Agatha goes to 3 resources. Michael goes to 3 resources. Michael draws a card. He gets Heavy Furs. Agatha gets Shortcut. That's it for the upkeep phase. We go to the Mythos phase. We put a Doom on the agenda, which means Miskatonic University gets fully flooded. Oh, this readies. this readies. Who's it going to engage? I think it's going to have to engage Michael. Or is it? No, it's going to have to engage Agatha. Can't risk it with Michael. 2 sanity left. Do we? No, I'm going to engage. It's going to engage Michael. It's going to engage Michael. Okay. We draw a card for Agatha. She gets tortured visions. Test will 3. I guess +2 difficulty if you have 3 or fewer cards in your hand. I do, so it's will 5. Five versus 4. -1. Fail. Take 1 direct horror, so I'm down to 3. Discard a card at random from my hand. I've got 1, which is shortcut. Michael draws a card. Drawn to darkness. Drawn to darkness. I've got 2 cards in hand, so not a problem. We go to the investigation phase. Well, first of all, Agatha's going to spend her 2 clues to see what's underneath the Miskatonic University. Move those out for a second, and we'll get this one. It is the Tillinghast Historia. Put Tillinghast Historia into play adjacent to your location and spawn the set-aside Randall Tillinghast at it. Shuffle each set-aside artifact asset and place underneath as a stack. Tillinghast Historia is connected to the location from which it was drawn and vice versa. As a reaction, place clues on this location up to its clue value. Right, okay. Bear with. All right, we'll put so that's connected to the Miskatonic University. These are all still connected into there. Done all those. So we've got Randall, who's appeared. 1 fight, 1 health, 3 to evade, relentless retaliate. He cannot move. He gets +1 fight and +1 health for each card underneath. So he's going to get 2 health. So he's 5 health. There's 2 cards underneath. There's 2 cards underneath it. So +1 fight. So he's going to be fight 3. And he's going to get 4 for each of those. So his health is 5. And he engages with somebody because he's not aloof. Right, so who do I engage him with? I think I engage him with Michael. Oh no, God. It's going to kill Michael. I'm going to have to engage him with Agatha. If I could just survive this next little bit. That was her first action. Second action. He's fight 3. I'm fight 1. Evade 3. I'm going to have to try and evade him. 3 versus 3. 3 versus 3. 3 versus 3. Auto fail. That's my second action. Third action. Try to evade. Come on. Come on. No. Minus. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. 4. So that's minus 2. I'll fail anyway. That's it for Agatha. Michael. He draws his Underworld Market deck. He gets an automatic and a Derringer. I will take the Derringer. That costs me 1. So I'm down to 2 to take the Derringer. First action. I'm going to throw the Derringer using Robert. So fight +2. If we succeed by 2 or more, it does +1 damage. So I'm fight 5. 6 because it's a deep one. 7 because of Robert. 8, 9 for the Derringer. 9 versus 3. 9 versus 3. I very nearly said a naughty word there. I very nearly said a naughty word. 9 versus 3, auto fail. Second action. Punch the deep one thrall. 5, 6, 7 versus 3. 7 versus 3. Minus 2. We do 1 damage to it. Third action. 7 versus 3 fight. 7 versus 3. There we go. +2, and you may place an ammo on a firearm. I've got no firearms, but we kill it. As his third action. Oh. Right. That's Michael done. We move on to the enemy phase. Agatha's going to take 1 and 1 from Randall. 1 and 1. Down to 4, down to 2. Michael's going to take 1 and 1 from the Starspawn. He'll take the 1 damage. And I will take myself down to 1. Ooh. 1 and 1. That's the enemy phase. Go to the upkeep phase. We get our actions back. We gain a resource. Agatha's up to 4. Michael's up to 3. Michael draws a card. He gets quick thinking. Agatha gets deduction. Okay. No kit out at all. This has been a rough game. It's not managed to get stuff sorted. Anywho. We go across to the mythos phase. We put 8 of 14. We flood the Tillinghast Extoria. Partially flooded. We draw a card for Agatha. She gets a young deep one. We get a card for Michael. He gets oppressive influence. Test will 3, where will is your printed shroud. Okay. It's 4 versus 3. 4 versus 3. Oh, I should have discarded one of those because I've drawn to darkness. Should only have 2. We'll get rid of that one, which is heavy furs. So, quick thinking I'll play to make me 4 versus 4. Yeah, 4 versus 4. That's all I can do. 4 versus 4. -1. I fail. You take 2 horror. Well, I'm going to have to put it onto Robert, which kills him. And I'll put 1 onto John, which we're hanging in. We're hanging in. We go across to the investigation phase. Jesus. It's really bad. Really bad. I think we're near the end game, ladies and gents. Okay. Right. So we can try and evade the young deep one to exhaust it. 3 versus 3. And if we're successful there, we could try and, well, Randall's relentless, which means I can't exhaust. I can disengage from him, but the enemy phase is just going to re-engage me and attack me because he's relentless. I can't exhaust him. So in the best case scenario, I could evade that to exhaust it. I could evade him to be unengaged. Monstrous star spawn. It's got 4 health left. Depends on what I draw there, but I've got no Robert now, so I can't even chuck weapons at him. So let's start off with Agatha, who's going to attempt to evade the young deep one. It's 3 versus 3. I've got a deduction, that makes no difference. First action evade. 3 versus 3. -3. If their test fails, place 1 doom on the nearest enemy. So 1 doom onto the deep one. Second action. I can't even, well, let's try the deep one again. 3 versus 3. We pass with a 0, which means he's exhausted at the Astoria. Now, if we try and evade Randall, he's got retaliate. So I'm not going to, I'm just going to have to take the hit from him next turn. So I'll pass on my third action. Well, no, I'm not going to pass on my third action. My third action, I'm going to fight. He's fight 2. I'm fight 1. But there is a +1 in there. There is a +1 in there. Oh. No, he's got retaliate. No. Nope, I won't be fighting him because he's got retaliate. So pass on my third action. So that's Agatha gone. Michael draws his underworld market. He gets fence and liquid courage. Which is no good. To man nor beast. Got a Chicago tight road, which is 5 cost. I've got 3 resources, so I can't spend this. Again, similar. So we'll try and evade him. We'll try and evade him. 3 versus 2. Three versus 2. -1. We pass. He's evaded. We'll leave that there like that. They're all at the Astoria. Second action. He's going to have to move to the Miskatonic University. No. That leaves Agatha there on her own. Second action. So, no, second two actions. I'm going to draw. I'm going to gain 2 resources. I'm going to yeah, I'm going up to 5. That's it. That's it. Right. Enemy phase. 1-1 from Randall against Agatha. Down to 3-1. We go across to the upkeep phase. Agatha's up to 5 resources. Michael's up to 6 resources. He draws a card. He gets cracked shot. Agatha gets mouse mask. We get our actions back. We're ready up. Engaging. Monstrous Starspawn engages with Michael. And I'm going to have to put the young deep one in there as well. Mythos phase. 9 of 14. We draw a card for Agatha. She gets oppressive influence. Will 4 against Will 4. I'll chuck the mouse mask in to make it 5 versus 4. Five versus 4. -3. If the test fails, place a doom on the nearest enemy. We'll put it onto the young deep one. We take 2 horror. 1, 2. Agatha's dead. Agatha's gone insane. Which means then Randall engages with Michael. She drops a clue. Oops. Michael draws a card. He gets drawn to darkness. Don't need to worry about that. Doesn't gain surge. Investigator phase. We'll draw from his deck. He's got liquid courage and a Thompson. I'll spend 1 to take the Thompson. Right. No. What am I thinking? Can't even play it. I can't even play it because I'll be taking three health and 3 sanity. I've got nothing I can do. I've got nothing I can do. We'll attempt to evade. We'll attempt to evade the monstrous star spawn to start off with. 3 versus 2. 3 versus 2. We evade the monstrous star spawn. That's number 1. That was first action. Second action. Evade Tillinghast. 3 versus 3. -2. That comes out. -2 plus that, which is -3. We fail. That's it. He's dead. He's dead. No, what am I doing? Stop being such a... So I didn't... Third action, we'll attempt to avoid the young deep one. That's -3, so we don't evade it. And that's my call. Done. Let's play this properly, MB. Stop being such a grump. In the enemy phase, I take 2 and 2. So down to 3. And we go insane. There we go. Gods, that was a struggle. That really was a struggle. Right, where's my little book? Where's my book gone? Oh, there we go. If each investigator resigned or defeated, a trio of terrified locals bolts down the street past you, followed by a lumbering spawn of Cthulhu. Your blood runs cold, and there is no safe space for you to run. You wander the flooded streets looking for some sign of Ruby, Andy, or Inspector Legrasse. Each investigator searches the collection for a random basic injury or madness and adds it to their deck, and then that does not count towards their deck size. Okay. These are all my basic weaknesses. Oh, injury or madness, bear with me. God. Okay, these are all my madness, weaknesses, etc. Well, an injury. So we'll take 1 there, 4, and 1 there. We'll get a cheeky little... Try not to look at it. I like them to be a surprise. That can go in Agatha's deck. This one can go Michael's deck. There we go. Proceed to resolution 1. A disquieting roar shakes the very foundations of Arkham. Standing next to your companions, look up to see the familiar hulking form of Cthulhu slouch out of the Miskatonic River. With a single motion, the Ancient One tramples an entire borough of Rivertown underfoot. The sound of cracking wood and shattering glass filled the air, followed by a chorus of screams. Andy, Ruby and the Inspector share a grim look as your worst fears are confirmed. We have to do something, shouts over the din. So, under your campaign log, under artifacts earned, Cross out the name of each artifact asset that was not under the investigator's control when the scenario ended. Okay. We cross out the grizzly mask. Oops. There we go. If the horror in clay was under the control of an investigator when the scenario ended, record horror in clay. No. In your campaign log, record flooded neighbourhoods along with a list of each flooded location. So south side. St Mary's Hospital. Miskatonic. And I'll put the Tillinghast just in case. Astoria. The investigators must decide. Choose one. We're ready to fight. Proceed to resolution 2. If you wish to continue playing immediately, we need more time. Skip to resolution 3. If you wish to take a break and proceed the next time you play. Yeah, I'm going to do that. So resolution 3. You urge your companions to take the time to prepare and collect yourself for the final stand. Clean up the game as normal, and then we're going to play part 2. Right. Right, okay. There we go. That's part 1 done. Not... Well, it didn't. It was a tough game, that one. Very tough game. Okay, we'll call it there. Looks like it's the very last scenario in the next one. Like I say, it's going to be a week or so's break now because I'm going to be away at Board Game Expo next weekend, so no recording. I work full time, so only gets a chance to record at the weekends. So next weekend, I'm afraid nothing in the pan, but we'll be back in 2 weeks. All right, thanks very much. See you later. Bye-bye.